the top 3 biggest underachievers at Tottenham at the moment? Seb, take it away.
The first one I'm going to go with is actually a player that I think is incredibly underrated and disrespected throughout his career at Tottenham. But it's Christian Romero. I'm going with Christian Romero because I never think a player is bigger than the club, ever. Nobody is bigger than Tottenham Hotspur as a player in the squad. I know you'll probably say different, but Christian Romero is a player that should be playing at the elite level consistently. Latter stage of the Champions League, a team that is competing for titles regularly. Unfortunately, at Tottenham Hotspur, the disrespect has come from the fact that we have not been in the Champions League regularly since he's been there. We have not been competing for Premier League titles, so people will never fully give him the ratings that he deserves. And I do think he's a player that steps up a level. You see his performances in the World Cup for Argentina. I think if he was playing for a better side, you'd see better performances more consistently from him on a bigger stage, and that would lead to him sort of having a career that I think he deserves to have. And I'm grateful that he stayed with us, forever grateful, my captain and all that, love him to bits, but maybe could have achieved more in his club career than he has today.
It's a Kyle Walker job.
Yeah, it could be. It genuinely could be. And I was expecting him to leave this summer. He didn't, which I love because I'm a Spurs fan first, obviously. My second one, actually a man that you said was the most underrated player at Tottenham Hotspur, Pat Matasar. I think he's at a stage now where he needs to be starting consistently for someone. And if that's not Spurs, why is it not Spurs? I think you've got to ask that question. Brilliant at the start of the season for us, one of our best players, is now just really, really inconsistent game time. Didn't even come off the bench against Forest. Little bit part cameos for the most this season since the earlier stages. So that's been super frustrating. I think he's at the stage now where he needs to be starting consistently, and he's never really done that throughout his Spurs career. So I think that leads to a little bit of underachieving maybe so far in his Spurs career, but not entirely his fault. I will say that.
I was going to say, start of the season, I feel like the best part of why Spurs were doing quite well was Sarr was really excelling at.
Genuinely, yeah. I mean, the City game, the PSG game, the Super Cup, like he was unbelievable in those games, and yeah, not really seen him that much since. Number 3, can you guess what I'm going with for number 3?
Solanke?
It is Solanke.
Oh, wow. How is it Solanke?
How did you guess that? Dominic Solanke for number 3. I think purely injury-based. Walked through the door at Spurs, having had 1 injury in 2 years for Bournemouth, which only kept him out for a couple of games. Since he's been at Spurs, he's been consistently injured, long layoffs with injury. Last season, 24 goals and assists in the season, bearing in mind as well, he had lots of injuries last season. Very, very good return for a player that gets a lot of criticism online, like a lot of criticism. And I think if he'd been fully fit consistently through his Spurs career, I think we talk about him in a completely different light to what we do currently talk about him. And I think he's underachieved at Spurs based on injuries so far. Might be a little bit harsh, but yeah.